Honestly, I swear ever since I've started doing this channel, every game, like most of the games have been just crazy, crazy games, and I can't lie, it's starting to get a bit frustrating for me. I just want to be on this channel trying to give something new that you can't really see on YouTube, something that, I want to give you some sort of tactical digestion of how we play and break it down, things where we can improve. Every single game for us seems like drama. Everything, it just seems like a sitcom. It's like some soap opera. This is actually getting a bit on my nerves now. I'm going to go chronologically. So I'm going to start off with what went well in the first 20 minutes when we looked like we could actually dominate the game for once. We looked pretty good. We played probably some of the best football I've actually seen this season for the first how long. And I mean, there were a lot of stoppages in the play with Evans' injury, the person with the emergency in the crowd. Personally, I want to talk about the first goal. Brilliant play. Rashford on the right hand side looked very good at the beginning. Played a nice ball into Wan-Bissaka, who did well, cut back, found a good pass into McTominay. A nice disguised pass from Wan-Bissaka. McTominay did well, fantastic run and a lovely cross for Hoyland. Good composed play. One really nice thing that we did in the way we played was a lot of what I said in the last video was we needed to sort of hold our position in the midfield, hold our position, and then make quicker drop-in movements. Let's say that Dallo had the ball and he tried passing that to Maguire. If I can just pass it to Maguire. Let's say Maguire would be pressed. What you would see is that nice drop in movement from Eriksen to get into good space. You can then receive the ball. Or for example, we saw McTominay do this quite well. Eriksen, Bruno, Maguire was composed. Evans was composed. The fullbacks were composed. They play the ball in, and we could just quickly play triangles between all the players. Quicker passing between players in like sort of a deeper position. We saw better holding the line and then quickly dropping in, playing quick pass and getting triangles and going on between lots of players. And Copenhagen at the very start could not deal with that at all. We want to see more of this sort of football in the coming games because it worked really, really well. Ideally, I would have wanted to see this for the full 90 minutes, and this would be like a main talking point on this game. But I'm going to have to quickly go over this because there was so much more drama in that game. Before we go on to the red card, I just want to make a quick notice that I did like seeing Rashford on the right hand side today. Kept trying to look for Wan-Bissaka down the right hand side. Kept trying to use that the outside to get plays going, and that angle that Rashford has when he's on the ball. He always is trying to look in for a movement there or a pass down the line, and then Wan-Bissaka trying to overlap on that side. He's always trying to look for one of those movements, which is a lot better because it makes it easier for him to be unselfish. It makes it easier for him to keep the play going, keep the passes, like keep the attack flowing and keep everyone moving. And usually there were times in the past this season where he'd take shots and it would all go wrong and he maybe looked like he lost confidence on the left hand side because on the left hand side there's much more of an onus on him to go toe to toe with his defender, go 1v1 and try create a chance or get a goal that way. But here he can rely more on his passing ability and teamwork rather than trying to go all on his own, which I think at this moment in at this particular point in his career, because of the form he's in, the lack of confidence he has, I think that it's going to suit him a lot better. And I would like to see Rashford playing on the right hand side rather than the left for now. Now on to all the big talking points. Firstly, the red card. It was not a red card in my opinion, and I'm not saying that. I think that three major refereeing decisions that the two penalties and the red card. I think the referee got them all wrong today. I think the red card is unlucky because I understand what the point is coming from, saying that it is a dangerous tackle, a dangerous challenge. But you have to know that Rashford was not trying to win the ball. He was not trying to. attempt to get the ball. It wasn't an attempt to get the ball, it was an attempt to put his foot on the ground. Now, I understand those could be a red card if he's trying to tackle the ball and goes over the ball and rolls into the ankle. But he's not trying to do that. He's just simply trying to put his foot on the ground and the other player's foot is in the way. So it's just like an unlucky coming together. And that happens in football, you know? It happens in real life. You know, you might be walking somewhere, you don't know, look where you're going, you accidentally step on someone's foot. You're not gonna go call the police saying he broke my leg, or you're not gonna give someone a red card in real life, or the equivalent of that. That's why personally I don't think it was a red card. Um, very very harsh because I understand that the referee was just looking at a freeze frame and simply from is it a dangerous play or is it a play that could cause injury? Yeah, but the player got up fine from it. Got up from it fine, and it was not that it wasn't any intent. It was never the chances of that happening were very very low. It was just a misplacement of the foot because I'm trying to say that if Rashford was trying to tackle the ball, trying to go for the ball, understand that okay that could be a red card, but in this case he was just simply trying to put his foot on the floor and the opponent's leg got in the way. That that's why I don't believe it's a red card. Now that red card ended up obviously costing us all the game. I don't blame Rashford for that. Those things happen. The penalty, actually both penalties, I don't think either of them were penalties. But what I will say that the referee did do well was that he was consistent with it. I think if you're going to give the first one, the second one has to be given. But I don't think either of them are penalties, ours or Copenhagen's. I think that both. I mean, if that's the law of the game, then the game is just rubbish now. You cannot be given penalties for those kind of acts. Like Maguire's hand is the ball. He's in close proximity. Your hand is going to be there because he's trying to hold onto the player, trying to get his hand onto the player, not trying to get for the ball. So his hand is obviously going to be out. That happens in the game. Maguire does that a lot, but a lot of defenders do that a lot as well. They try hold players, trying to use their arms to latch onto players, and it's not a foul. But that happens, so I understand why that's a handball. And with our penalty, the Copenhagen player, if that ball hit Copenhagen player from the first time round, yes, it's a penalty. But because it's gone past him, his hand is up, and then Maguire's headed it onto him in close proximity, and the guy doesn't even know about it, that is still not a penalty. That's just not a penalty. I think that if both penalties are given, which they were, it's not a mistake from the referee, but I will say that UEFA, FIFA, whoever it is, needs to revise their rules. That cannot be penalties. Though we cannot be giving penalties for those. Those things should not be penalties. They're not handballs. Now I want to talk about the goals. The first goal was because of the Rashford red card. Clearly, I think we were out of position. Bruno Fernandes should have been marking his left back properly, but again, just conceded the red card. I mean, he's the captain. He should probably know better. But that goal was because their left back was unmarked. Wan-Bissaka was marking their left winger. The left back was completely unmarked, and that would have been Rashford's player, but obviously he got sent off. Cross comes in, defenders could do better, goalkeeper should do better. I think the second goal, penalty, unlucky. I mean, I don't think it should have been a penalty, but we got ours, so again, I agree with the consistency. I don't agree with the rules. The third goal that we conceded, Dallo needs to wake up. I think it was a calamity of errors because Wan-Bissaka played a loose pass to Anana. Could have controlled that better, and that's a downside of Wan-Bissaka is that in those kind of moments he does kind of lack that control of a ball sometimes, that that composure, that ability to just get hold of the ball and get the ball to do what he wants to do. So it made it difficult for Anana. We conceded the corner, they piled up pressure, and they scored. I think that Dallo obviously should have done better on the goal, and Nana could have done better on the goal. The last goal was a mistake from I think the centre halves. I can't remember who. I think it was Varane, but I can't remember if it was Varane exactly. Trying playing out the back, they missed up a pass. Ended up again piling pressure, and what a finish that was. Again, we could have maybe marked him up better, but the finish was unstoppable. I think the way we managed going down to 10 men was quite poor. I understand that you probably do want to wait until half time before making any substitutions, especially because we just made that injury sub with Johnny Evans. I think losing Johnny Evans did have a big impact on the game. We lost a lot of composure. I think something was wrong with Varane. When Johnny Evans was injured, you usually expect someone on the touchline ready to come on. Varane didn't look ready. He didn't look like he was wanting to come on. I think we could have brought on Lindelof. I think there's something wrong with Varane. I don't know if it's fitness or mentality, but he did not look willing to come on. He did not look like he was ready to come on. I don't know if that is maybe he had a. I've heard that though from other YouTubers saying that he has a fallout with Ten Hag. Who knows? It could be fitness. Because I know Varane cares a lot about his health. He knows. I think he knows his own injury record. He doesn't want to push himself to the limits. I think especially with Varane not actually doing any warm up before coming on. I don't think he was happy to come on. I probably would have brought on Lindelof. Maybe given Varane more time to train. He did not look like his usual self when he came onto the pitch. I think substitutions today, Amrabat was needed, but didn't play well. I think in this kind of game, I would have brought on Anthony for someone. When you're losing in a game like that, or when you're playing on the defensive side trying to counter, Anthony is very very useful in a game like that because his defensive work rate is incredible. He will always be there at the right back position to help defend, and you know that as a winger, Bruno Fernandes isn't going to offer a lot. He's a good passer, but he's not fast. He's not a runner either. Anthony will take the ball on the outside and try and beat his man 1v1. Try and get up the field with a dribble or a run. Bruno Fernandes is just not going to do that. That's not the kind of player he is. And I am quite frankly bored of Ten Hag's obsession with Mason Mount. There was no reason to bring him on today. Out of all the players to bring on, Martial, Pellistri, Hannibal, and more importantly, Anthony would have all been better options. When we took off Hoyland, which I would definitely not have done because Hoyland gives us that focal point at the end of the pitch that no one else can. I like Martial and I do think he deserves more game time, but I would not have brought him on today in that circumstance because we need a fast, physical, direct focal point who you can play the ball to. And Hoyland is the only player in that team that can do that. When we brought on Mason Mount, we lost the focal point. We lost someone who's going to run in behind. We lost someone who's going to threaten their defenders with pace and power and strength. And when we don't have someone like Anthony on the wing, we're not going to test our fullbacks either. I don't think taking off Bruno in this game would have been the right thing to do. I think you need your captain on there, especially with Varane something not going completely okay with him. I would have kept Bruno on. And I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, we need to bring Anthony on. We need to bring Anthony on, but who do I take off? Because we need McTominay and Amrabat. We need Bruno. We need Garnacho. We need Hoyland. So I'm thinking maybe take off one of the fullbacks and try and revert the formation in the last minutes of the game. Maybe if you're desperate and we need to get a goal, bring Anthony on. But we got the penalty goal. And then I thought, okay, maybe we can live without it. But when we conceded once and then again, and then we decided to bring on Mason Mount, I knew that the game was over. The game was over when we brought on Mason Mount. And I think this little experiment with Mount has to end. It's done. No more Mason Mount. You can play him in the cup games. You can bring him into games when we're winning, and we can just give players game time. But do not bring him in a game like this when we actually need someone to perform for us. I think this game was perfect for Anthony, and I don't understand why we didn't bring him on. He's getting a lot of stick from the media, but like recently, every single decision that we made is a media decision. I've said this last time. The media doesn't like De Gea, so we get rid of him. Wrong decision. Fans and media people trying to troll Ronaldo, we get rid of him. Wrong decision. Get rid of Fred. Wrong decision. Get rid of Matic. Wrong decision. Get rid of Mata. Wrong decision. Pogba. Wrong decision. Cavani. all because media and people wanted them out, and you bring in players like Mason Mount, the media fanboys over, they don't perform on the pitch. And Anthony's another player who's going to get criticised by people in the media and people online, but he will do things that no one else can do on the pitch. He will be direct. In this moment in time, the only other player who can do that consistently is Garnacho. Rashford doesn't have the confidence to do that. And Palistri is a raw talent. I don't think he's physical enough. He will have the confidence. He's similar to Garnacho, but there's a slight problem with his physicality. I don't know if you can trust him. Is what I'm trying to say. I think the one big issue Eric Ten Hag is his problems with decision making on in terms of players starting the game and substitutions. And I think he really, really needs to fix that up as soon as possible. I'm going to jump into the player ratings now because I don't really think there was much else to talk about. I talked about the goals, the red card, the decisions from the referees, system, what went well for us at the beginning. I would not make any decisions on Ten Hag based on this game. A lot of Ten Hag's big decisions have gone wrong. I don't know what the hell is happening to Sancho as well. Like, what? I don't know what's going on with him. But because Ten Hag has made a lot of these decisions, and because I'm sick and tired of seeing new managers come to this club and fail and fail and fail, I do not want people signing on Ten Hag. You cannot blame him for this game. Maybe you can blame bringing on Mount, but I don't think anything else was his fault. The red card, not a red card. Penalties, not penalties. They weren't penalties. Even the one for us. He was forced to bring on Amrabat. What else could he do? For me, Anana was a 4.5. I think he could have done better on the goals. The first goal, he just looks weird when he tries to save shots. Like, it looks like he's making a mess of it. First goal, he looked like he could have done better. The third goal, it was beaten at the near post. He could have done better. I understand Dallas should have marked better for the third goal, and the ball looked like it went through a lot of players who could have cleared it, but I expect better from Anana. Wan-Bissaka, I'm gonna give 6.5. I think the only he looked good the game. He got an assist and he looked powerful going forward. He looked like he could those little bursts of space to get into space and try and link up. He looked good at that and he defended well as well. But that one pass to Onana that led to the third goal, which ultimately did cause us to go from 3-2 up to 4-3 loss, was because of a dodgy pass from him. So I'm gonna knock him down a little bit for that. Maguire, I'm probably gonna give him a 6. Made a couple mistakes. I'm not gonna knock him down for the handball because I don't think it was. But I think he was steady in general. Um, definitely started steady when we went down to 10 men. You probably expect more leadership from a guy who used to be our captain. And we did look rocky at times, but I don't really think you can blame him too much. Evans, I'm probably actually going to give him a 6.5. Looked like we lost something when he came off the pitch. Was really composed. Helped with that sort of triangle passing stuff that we did until Rashford got sent off. Disappointment because he's come in and he's done very well for us. Dallo, honestly, I have to give him a 5. Actually, no, I'll give him a 5.5. I'll be a bit generous because a 6 is average, by the way. Dallo had a very good game today, defended well and attacked well, but that one lapse in concentration on that third goal cost us the game. Cost us the game. McTominay, I'll give him a 6. Got the assist for Hoyland, but other than that, what did he do? I think I see him off again. In the first 10 minutes, he was getting on the ball, playing in this sort of position, getting into that sort of space there, in between the centre halves, and collecting the ball, playing a few passes. But when we went down to 10 men, what did he do? After that first sort of 10-15 minute period between that and Rashford's red card, didn't really do anything either. In a game like this, when we're down to 10 men, you kind of can't really take him off the pitch. You really want someone like him and Amrabat in the midfield for energy, but you kind of need him to step up and try and get on the ball and make some bursts into the final third, dribble on the ball, carry the ball forward. He has the ability to do that because uh, he has got the energy to do that. He has got the pace to do that. We just need to see more of it. Ericsson for me, I'll give it a 6 as well. Was very good up until the red card, and then obviously the red card happened. There was no reason to have him on the pitch anymore. I think taking him off was the most obvious thing to do. Whether or not at the end of the game it was the right thing to do, I don't know. Because we did end up just losing the game. Having him on the pitch when we had 11 men helped us because he dictated the game well, got hold of the ball, played some nice passes. We controlled the game when he was on it, and he helped. He helped with our passing. He was a very good player in that sense. Fernandez, I'm probably going to give him a 6. Penalty obviously scored. Again, first few 20 minutes, made a good pass out to Rashford. Tried a few passes through blind alleyways when he just needs to be a bit calmer. It's that frustration with Bruno where when you need a player in the final third, when you kind of need your number 10 to not be very erratic on the ball, you want him to be composed on the ball. Someone like Ericsson, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, Odegaard, Mata, Ozil, these guys are composed on the ball. Bruno sometimes rushes too much. And that first goal, maybe he could have done better by marking up that man, understanding maybe he has to play on the right wing position and understood that job better. But as a captain, he did okay. I could see him trying to lead us on the pitch, but it was just a task that was too big for us. Rashford I'm not gonna mark him down for the red card. I'm just gonna give him a 6. Um, he looked good on the right hand side, as I said. The way the passes and the opportunities that open up when he's playing on the right hand side suits him at this moment in time better than it does on the left. Red card was unlucky. I'm not gonna jump on the Rashford hate wagon, hate hate whatever it is thing that's going on right now. I'll criticise him when his performances were bad, but today would have been a better improvement on and something I would like to see him build off. But the red card was just simply unlucky. Garnacho, a 6, probably not his best game, but for the second goal, made a good run, and his shot went to Hoyland. Tried. The only real threat that we had and that we could have exploited when we went down to 10 men. Hoyland wasn't really too involved, but Garnacho was the one that if we had to look to someone to counter, it would have been him. We needed someone else on the right hand side to do that as well. We needed Anthony on the right hand side to do that as well. Um, yeah, we just needed another Garnacho because it was just too predictable. Having him it was just one sided, trying to attack down that one side. It was just easy for Copenhagen to defend. Hoyland, you've got to give him a 7 for the goals. He likes the Champions League. He's a true striker, and we need someone like him. We shouldn't have taken him off because we lost that focal point. We lost that powerful, fast, strong striker who could just run at defenders. We shouldn't have taken him off. Varane, I have to give him a 5. Looked off it. I don't know. I'm worried if it's a mentality thing. If it's a mentality thing, I'll be worried. But I want to believe that it was because he was worried about his fitness before he came on. I think he was worried about getting injured. Hopefully that was what it was, and probably wasn't able to warm up, so couldn't get into the game well. But he looked off it. He is our best centre back. Let me reiterate that Varane is our best centre back of everyone. If this guy does not want to be here, if this guy is unhappy, that is a huge loss. Huge loss. I don't understand what the problem, but if we are going to get rid of someone like Varane and we aren't playing Casemiro either, I don't know if Casemiro is injured or not, but if you're going to throw away Ronaldo, 5 Champions League, if you're going to throw away Casemiro with 5 Champions League and Varane with 4 Champions League and a World Cup, and then you're also going to throw away De Gea, who's the only player in our team who won a World Cup, who won a Premier League, other than maybe Johnny Evans, then that is going to be a huge problem. in terms of having experience in the team. And Eric Ten Hag, if he wants to make that decision, it will have to work. But every other decision he's made, every other player who the media wants to target, and they will target Varane, they will target Casemiro, they will target Anthony. If Eric Ten Hag cowers and listens to these people, it will be his downfall. And what's going to be even worse is that he will make all these decisions and he will get sacked if that's the case because these players will let him down. And then the problem is that a new manager will come in and they will take over the worst group of players in our squad. All the best players that we had over the last 3-4 years have now gone. They are if any new manager comes in, if Eric Ten Hag decides to sell Anthony, Varane, and Casemiro, who are all being targeted by the media, maybe even Martial as well, the new manager that comes in will be screwed. Screwed. Amrabat at 5. We needed him to come in and play at his best level. He played at a fantastic level on his debut against Crystal Palace. Then at a good level the next game, and then against that second game against Crystal Palace, his level started to drop, and he started plateauing at a line that is not good enough. He needs to improve. If you're not being able to start over Scott McTominay, that's a bit of an issue. When he came on, which we have brought him on a lot of times this season, a lot of times he hasn't looked that good and has cost us goals or chances. Today he almost cost us a goal. I think that it was from his mistake that the player scuffed the shot and the ball almost went out of play. And then maybe it did actually come back in and they scored or something. I think that's actually what happened. Mason Mount, a 5. I would be harsh and give him a 4, but why did he come on? We should have kept Hoyland up there, and then we should have brought Anthony on to play on the right, and maybe taken off a fullback. This team has serious issues when it comes to going behind or having some sort of difficulty in the game. They crumble easily, and that's been a huge problem ever since that last season of Solskjaer. They can bottle things. They bottle too much. They lose their bottle too much. I think we have Luton on Saturday. That is obviously a must-win game. But in the Champions League, we are looking a little bleak. We have to beat Galatasaray, and then we have to hope Bayern plays a rubbish team against us, and we can win that game as well. But it is looking very, very bleak because even if we do beat Galatasaray, and let's say Bayern do win, we will be second on 6 points and everyone else on 4, and the chances are we will probably lose to Bayern. And one of the other teams, all they have to do is win, and we're into the Europa League. If that's even a thing, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I don't think the third place thing exists anymore. Actually, we'll just get knocked out then. Even if we win the next game, it's looking very, very bleak. You gotta just hope that we can pull some sort of miracle off. But that's only really going to be possible if we start picking the right players. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And hopefully, we can pattern up and start getting some consistent results because the way we played in that first 10, 20, 30 minutes, was actually some very nice football. If we can build on that first 20, 30 minutes, start playing football like that every single game, we can actually do quite well. But we just got to fix our mentality. Players on the pitch have to stop crumbling, and the manager needs to start picking the right players.